A detective and the chief bicker fiercely. A crowd gathered around the rice paddy. A man reenacting the murder yells to his father that he's not the killer. What secrets are they hiding? K-Screen Talk kicks off now. In a peaceful, quiet rural village, a shocking incident rocks South Korea. On October 23, 1986, a woman's body is found in a rice paddy, and the case begins. They meticulously track down suspects one by one. Investigating every possible lead and collecting photos of their appearance. As they narrow down suspects and dive into the crime scene investigation, they uncover evidence believed to be the killer's footprints, but the crime scene was a completely chaotic mess. And the only evidence, the footprints, vanished too. That day, Detective Park Do-man returns home and hears from his wife that neighbors saw Baek Kang-ho following Lee Hyang-suk on the day she was murdered. And right away, they track down the man at the center of the rumors, Baek Kang-ho. Park Do-man desperately tries to force a confession from Baek Kang-ho, not hesitating to use brutal violence. Women living in Hwasong City, where the incidents took place, were gripped by fear due to the murders. Amid such fear, Detective Seo Tae-yoon, who came from Seoul to help with the case, is mistaken for the killer by a woman. And so the first meeting between the two detectives turns into a fist fight full of tension. And so Do-man heads back to the crime scene to fabricate the missing evidence. Using the fabricated evidence, they try to force a false confession from Baek Kang-ho. But he denies it to the end. The detectives finally take Baek Kang-ho to the mountains for interrogation.
핸드백은? 맞아, 백은. 그걸로 향수기 먹을.
At the moment, he describes details about the crime sequence and methods that only the real killer would know.
박힌 옷을 다시 입혔다.
Detective Seo Tae-yoon, tirelessly immersed in the case day and night, discovers a crucial fact. Baek Kang-ho's weak and injured hand could never have committed the murders at the crime scene. However, Seo Tae-yoon's opinion that Baek Kang-ho isn't the killer is dismissed. In the end, the detectives face public humiliation in front of a crowd, and the lead detective chef is replaced. And a new chef steps in. With the new chef leading the way, the investigation regains momentum. And on top of that, Detective Seo Tae-yoon uncovers a shocking truth no one knew. The fact that there were not 2 victims, but 3. By analyzing the killer's signature patterns, along with the time, place, and distance of the incident, Detective Seo Tae-yoon discovers one more victim. At the same time, in the dead of a rainy night, a woman steps out to meet her husband who left for work without an umbrella. And a chilling whistle echoes behind her. Gripped by fear, she quickens her pace and starts walking faster. But unfortunately, the bad feelings always spot on. As the detectives struggle to find direction in the investigation, they hear shocking news from their colleague, a female detective. The shocking revelation was that every time a crime occurred, the same song played on a specific radio station.
가수는 유재야? 보세요.
In other words, the killer always listened to this song before committing the murders.
직접 들었어요. 테레mov에서 외로운 남자가 보냅니다. 비 오는 밤 꼭 틀어주세요.
Detective So Tae-yoon rushes to radio station to secure their mail records, but they had long been discarded. Finally, on a rainy night, the detectives prepare a sting operation, and with the female detective as the bait, the trap is set in motion. While rushing through the rain, Detective So Tae-yoon encounters two schoolgirls who claim to know where the killer lives. At first, he dismisses it as just a school ghost story,
범인 어디 사는지?
but driven by desperation, So Tae-yoon visits their high school anyway.
또 미친 여자가 빠져 죽은 거라고?
There, he hears an absurd rumor that the killer lives in the school's outhouse, and he decided to check it out.
차라리 여기 한번 변소에 가보세요.
By chance, he meets the school nurse and uncovers a jaw-dropping clue.
괜히 사람 간 떨어지게
원래
만들고.
그 조사라는 게요.
뭐요?
It's
아, 근데 그것 때문에 애들이 그런 얘기를 하나?
a witness.
저쪽 밭에서
Detective So Tae-yoon has the location the school nurse pointed out. There, he finds a dilapidated house where a woman lives alone.
저번에
Upon seeing So Tae-yoon, she hides inside, overwhelmed
정말요?
with fear. Traumatized and terrified of man,
같은 여자끼리니까 편하게.
she opens up to the female detective about what happened that night. The method used on her matched those reported in the newspapers,
여자들.
and the tools were identical. Most shockingly, she reveals a clue.
그놈 얼굴 안 보려고. 그거 하나 확실하게 기억나.
The hands that covered her mouth was as soft as a woman's. With fierce determination to catch the killer, So Tae-yoon heads back to the police station. Meanwhile, Detective Park Do-man is once again trying to frame an innocent man for the crime. So Tae-yoon insists the man isn't the killer and demands his release, sparking an argument with an enraged Park Do-man that escalates into a physical fight. At the moment, the female detective plays the song from the radio, and it's raining outside. The chief immediately requests backup for the investigation, and the detectives calls the radio station to secure the postcards. However, the request for additional manpower is denied due to riot suppression. And the next day, another body is found, cold and lifeless. Despite securing the suspect's address through the postcards, the detectives were still unable to catch the killer quickly, leaving them disheartened. At the moment, Detective So Tae-yoon suddenly decides to revisit Baek Kang-ho's recorded statements from the case. And then, through Baek Kang-ho's tone in the statement, he uncovers a jaw-dropping clue. Baek Kang-ho wasn't the killer. He was the sole witness at the crime scene. He wasn't describing his own actions, but recounting what he had seen.
그 얼굴. 사진.
Will the detectives ever catch the killer? So, what did you think of Memories of Murder? Memories of Murder, directed by Bong Joon-ho, is a gripping Korean thriller based on the real-life Hwasong serial killings in the late 1980s. Local detective Park Do-man and Seoul detective So Tae-yoon team up to crack a baffling murder case, spotting a pattern of victims in red on rainy days and staging a female detective's sting operation. Yet, another body is found, plunging the case into mystery. Blending tension and dark humor, this film captures the desperate pursuit of truth and the limits of an era. Want more Korean movie reviews? Hit subscribe K-Screen Talk, like, and drop your next movie pick in the comments. See you in the next video.